Looking for the ultimate Damian Priest figure, which I don't know if it's out
All
yet,
right, everyone
but
mute. Come on. There we go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back again to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. I am Edgar. I'm your host. The European tour for the WWE continues. That we're in Belgium for this episode of Monday Night Raw on St. Patrick's Day. A special episode of Raw because we were going to hear from John Cena for the very first time after his actions at the Elimination Chamber. So a lot of people have been waiting to hear what John Cena had to say. We are going to be sharing our thoughts about what John Cena said on this episode of Raw. We also had a contract sign in for the Women's World Championship, Io Sky and Bianca Belair, which got crazy at the end. Like usual, these contract signings usually they tend to get crazy, and this one did once again. And we got so much other stuff to talk about, you guys. So we're gonna get into it. We're waiting on Mr. Blood. Mr. Blood is not here with us yet, and I know he has a lot to say probably about the John Cena promo that we heard today. So normally I would like to get started with that, but we're gonna wait on that one. We're actually gonna get started with one of my other favorite segments of tonight's show, which was the mysterious masked luchador that showed up once again. Um, we have a funny name for that guy over at the Heel Shit podcast. Shout out to my boys Dark and Draven. Have a funny name for the mysterious masked luchador wearing the Alpha. What are they called? The Alpha Made? No, American Alpha. American Made. So this guy with the American made luchador mask, he comes out and over at the Heel Shit podcast, we called him Ultimo. No, what was it? Ultimo Maga? Well, Ultimo Maga, right? Yes, Ultimo Maga showed up again on Monday Night Raw, and I got a second look at him, a closer look, and now I'm convinced that is definitely Chad Gable. I don't care what anyone else says or what anyone else tells me, but that is definitely Chad Gable, right, fellas? Toxic, you don't know? Toxic, let's go with you first, Toxic. What was your thoughts about let's start off with the match because this was after the LWO versus the American Made, and then Chad Gable, I'm just going to call him Chad Gable, attacked the LWO after the match. Uh, Thoughts on the match and thoughts on the this mysterious masked luchador? Who do you think it is? I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but we saw him again. Has your thoughts changed about this?
so the match was kind of disappointing, and it wasn't really because the LWO Ray and Dragon Lee, they always outperform every single time, but the match was just kind of blah for some reason, and it's probably because American made, the Creed brothers in specific, and Mr. Blood is here. Welcome. But my thoughts have definitely changed, and I think that it's 100% Chad Gable.
All right, welcome, Mr. Blood. How you doing?
Awesome. My wife and I got to do that 2 month early access to the new Epic Universe theme park today in Orlando, Florida. That is Universal's new theme park. So had a great time doing that. That was fun. Other than that, I'm ready to talk some wrestling. So
Wonderful, good to have you. BT, let's go with you next. Has your thoughts or opinions changed about this mysterious masked luchador since the last time we spoke about it?
Not really. No, I still believe that it's Chad Gable. Ultimo Maga. That is the one name that takes the cake for me. I am always going to call him that from now on. Thank you, Heel Shit Podcast. Oh my God, Ultimo Maga. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I definitely believe that Ultimo Maga is Chad Gable. At this point, they're basically doing the Mr. America thing with Hulk Hogan back in the day. That's basically what this story is. And disappointingly, I didn't get to see the match between American Made and LWO.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't interested in it. But as soon as I saw Chad Gable come out, I'm like, oh yes, Ultimo Maga's back. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I still think Chad Gable is this Ultimo Maga guy. So those are my thoughts.
All right, on Tommy. Let's hear from you next.
It's kind of obvious that it is. It's got to be Chad. Down to not only the move set, but at the end, both times that he's appeared now, he said the exact same thing in the exact same way that Chad Gable says it. Iglesias! Like, it literally just saying thank you, which is just him. It's gotta be Chad Gable.
Yeah, and also last week we saw both of them in the same picture frame, right? Chad Gable and whoever it was that was wearing the mask at the time. But we fast forward a week, or no, just a few days, right? No, it was a week. It was last week on Monday Night Raw, the first time we saw him.
Yeah.
This time, Chad Gable was out in the ring earlier during the match, a different match. Now Chad Gable, he's not out there with the Creed brothers, and you know
That's exactly what it is. He came out at the beginning of Ivy's match,
mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, when the mystery masked person shows up, I'm like, okay, where the fuck did Chad go?
Yeah, a little convenient, I thought.
Like you almost never see, except for that one time, them in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
It's Chad.
All right, Mr. Blood, changed my mind. This is definitely Chad Gable, the guy that we saw today, right?
I think obviously when you look at the lower half of his face, he was on TV twice tonight. So he was there ringside for Ivy Now versus Dakota Kai, and I saw that that because I didn't watch it in real time because I was at the theme park. So I went through all the highlights on YouTube and everything to check out everything I missed. And the clip right before that is, when he comes out in the mask again and attacks, and from the bottom lip, that big curved bottom lip, all the way down to the chin. It's his chin. Here's the thing, though. I think that's intentional. I think 100% sure because Triple H knows that we automatically just think it's Chad Gable, and he knows that there's another half the fan base because he's plugged into the internet wrestling community that he probably believes that this is all just a swerve to probably debut Ray Phoenix. So honestly, it could go one of two ways. He's either gonna swerve us, the internet wrestling community, into thinking that it's actually Ray Phoenix, and then he could just basically it be a non-swerve and lackluster, and it really is just Chad Gable, or it's going to be the old switcheroo where it's Chad Gable whenever the masked guy gets caught. He's not in the mask, but Ray Phoenix is. Like Ray Phoenix keeps taking the fall for him on purpose. But I still think this 100% ties into Ray Phoenix. I don't see why it wouldn't, to be 100% honest with you, because he's the only other. Like, why start the luchador story, right? If you're not planning on introducing another luchador, because unless you're trying to do a commentary on America and Mexico right now in the political landscape in our real world here, the whole Ultimo MAGA thing that BT mentioned. Well, the reason that's so funny and that someone said that is because, well, Ultimo MAGA, make America great again, American made, all American, so, and then you're talking about him going to Mexico, training in a Mexican style. It's kind of art imitating life for the humor of it, but it's also, why would you do all this just to have it still end up just being Chad Gable the entire time? Like, that's a waste of everybody's time. It's not interesting. It's some shit that Vince would have done. And I agree with BT where he's talking about the whole Hulk Hogan thing when he was Mr. America, whatever the fuck it was. Who else had the body type that Hulk Hogan did? Who else had a handlebar? Who else had the handlebar mustache sticking out through their actual mask? It wasn't going to be anybody else but freaking Terry Taylor, Hulk Hogan. Who else was it going to be? Chad Gable can't hide that chin. I'm sorry. So, as far, I mean, if they wanted to really trick us, it should have been a full face mask. But I think the reason that it's not is for the sheer purpose of we're supposed to know that it's Chad in ring. So they can keep giving us the funny shit backstage afterwards on purpose to then swerve us into Ray Phoenix. I think it's all intentional from every angle.
Yeah, definitely intentional. I just think it's going to be kind of, I don't know, because clearly they're not doing a very good job about hiding the fact that that is Chad Gable under the mask.
But I think that's on purpose. I think they're
right. But hear me
trying
out.
to hide it.
But hear me out.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, they're not doing a very good job about hiding it, right? We all know it's him. I mean, the stocky build, the chin, like you said. And then what? Later on, they're going to be like, oh, it was Ray Phoenix the entire time. Like, no, it wasn't.
No, it's going to be the old Scooby-Doo shit. Hey, there's actually two villains here. There's the one that's portraying the in-ring physicality, because I don't see Ray Phoenix doing Chad Gable's chaos theory. So, it's like, oh, hey, similar build, similar body style, completely different wrestling styles, though. But, of course, hey, when it's on camera in ring for the close-ups, yeah, it's definitely Chad. But then when we go backstage and it couldn't be me. There's the guy right there. And it's the other guy taking the fall so they can keep doing this shit and not stop having to stop from getting caught. Scooby-Doo shit. Two villains playing one character. But you're supposed to know who one is on purpose, so it keeps you guessing on who the second person is.
That I caught this comment a while ago when I was like, I went back to re-listen to the last time we spoke about this, and someone mentioned, I forgot who it was, said that Ray Phoenix and Chad Gable have similar builds. That's not true.
Not entirely, but if you film it a certain way from a distance, you can't tell.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Tommy.
The one thing that I'm noticing that nobody's brought up, not even me, and I meant to bring this up, the voice when he does it. That is Chad Gable's voice. I had to re-listen to it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But as he's saying gracias and all that, that's Chad Gable's voice.
Mm-hmm.
I can recognize it from a mile away.
Mm-hmm. All right, final comments. I thought you had something to say, Mr. Blood, but let's move on from this. I think we pretty much covered everything when it comes to Ultimo Maga. Now that Mr. Blood's here, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Mr. Victim himself, Mr. Oh, you guys treated me like shit. Oh, I'm breaking up with all you guys. Feel sorry for me. Woe is me. John Cena came out on Monday Night Raw to pretty much freaking tell the people all the wrongs that they ever did to John Cena. John Cena is, we should feel bad for him. We treated him like shit. We didn't appreciate him. He was getting all kinds of boos. He was getting heat. And we're just the worst of the worst, according to John Cena. The fans are the problem here. And he blames everything on the fans and the WWE universe. And he's not going to give us what we want anymore. This toxic relationship that he has. It was an abusive relationship. He's done with it. And in a way, I kind of agree with all of this. Like, this felt real to me because he's right. Like, this kind of felt like he was saying what every famous person or every famous wrestler, probably how they really feel about the fans. Yes, the fans are great. Yes, the fans are the reason that we have success. but also some of you guys are fucking dickheads. Some of you guys are straight assholes. Yeah, some of you guys are the worst of the worst. So there's a lot of truth to what John Cena was saying about all this, and I know we have a lot of thoughts about this. So let's go with Mr. Blood first, and then we'll go down the line.
All right. First things first. I loved this entire segment, and I didn't at the same time. So this segment from entrance to cutoff is about 26 minutes, give or take 12 seconds, right? It's almost a half an hour, right? Um, Cena comes out, uh, just God, Brussels showing the U.S. that look, you're taking getting to be a fan of the crowd for granted, homie. Like what a great crowd. I mean, there are crowds that take segments and they put them to other levels. This segment, if it was in the States, in like fucking Philadelphia, it would have been great. Madison, great. But I mean, there's no crowd in the US for a Monday Night Raw that would have upped this segment more than Brussels did. I'm telling you. This segment without that crowd, I think, isn't nearly as impactful. And I think that's important to know because I listened to the segment twice all the way through. John Cena speaks a lot of truth to power here. He is not wrong. For 25-ish years, I mean, technically, not really 25, maybe 23 and a half, 24 if you count OVW. But for 25 years, he has literally had his career at the kind of mercy of the fandom, right? He comes in, he ruthless aggression against Kurt Angle, does the best he can, almost gets fired within a couple of weeks of that. The only reason that man even gets lucky enough to keep his career is because Stephanie McMahon hears him rapping on the back of a tour bus and says, "Hey, you should do that." Then we get the Doctor of Thugonomics, right? Then half that doesn't even work for the first part of the year that he's doing it. Gets a big break, right? He goes through all the cliff notes of his career. They loved him for a little bit until they didn't. 05, 06 starts coming around after the Marine One movie. They like him. Then they start turning on him, polarizing, right? Then they hate him for a good 2 years till he has that horrible injury. He's supposed to be out for what was it, 8, 9 months. He comes back in 3 or 4 at the Rumble, and the famous cross his arms, lift up, nod, gets the massive crowd pop, and within 20 fucking seconds of that pop, they are like, "Oh, wait a second, we hate this guy," and they start ripping him to shreds again. Just like John Cena mentioned tonight, he literally said, "You guys loved it for the first 2 seconds, and then you started hating it." He's correct. The thing about this is, I think if this heel turn had been with anybody else, without the career of John Cena, this promo is your same run of the mill. You never supported me. You never really cared about me. Rah rah bullshit, false speaking crap. Because remember, Becky Lynch tried that exact same promo a couple years ago when they turned her heel, and the fans didn't buy it. They kept trying to cheer her forever. They had to turn her back face because they couldn't get the fans to boo her. No matter what she did, she would come out and shit talk the city they were in. They would cheer for her. Okay? Any cheap pop she tried didn't work. Same thing when Austin fucking turned goddamn heel and joined the corporation. The fans wouldn't boo him. It started tanking their fucking stock because Stone Cold not being a face was ruining shit. Right? So it's the same thing with Cena. People say for the longest time, they should have turned Cena heel forever ago. They should have turned Cena heel forever ago. But it wouldn't have worked 15 years ago because they were already treating him like a heel when he was going up against people like CM Punk and The Rock the first time around, right? So they would literally treat him like he was already a heel, boo him like that anyway. I mean, his whole run against the Nexus, he basically buried the shit out of him like a heel. He's kind of always had heel tendencies. We just overlook it because he's Superman. But he's not wrong here. He's like, I have done everything y'all wanted. I have given you everything of me. Everything. All my time, all my energy. First to show up, last to leave for years. Years. And I got half of y'all that support me and the other half boo me. And then he turns on the people who say that they support him, even calling out a kid in the front row, okay, saying that you guys don't support me. He was like, you guys basically sit there on your asses, lazy as shit, while you watch me become great. And you're only wearing those things on your shirt because you want to emulate me, but not actually live the way I do. Those are words to you on a t-shirt. That's my life's motto. That's real shit to me. To him, he's still the baby face. Even though he said in the promo, I'm not a baby face or a heel. I'm a human being. I've given you everything. I've been injured for you, right? I wish he would have mentioned Make a Wish, but but he could have. That alone, the record holder for the most granted wishes in history, Guinness World Record book, award recipient. Okay, this is about as good as a good guy, fucking, you know, as good as a celebrity can be. If you want to talk about using your platform to help and do good for people, John Cena is about as baby face like in real life as you can get. Okay, so the fact is, no one would have bought his heel turn all those years ago because he was always genuinely just a good dude. You know, you needed something like this
All right,
where
let's hear.
he had the whole career to
Hold that
stack
thought.
up.
Hold that thought, Mr. Blood. I'm gonna let you finish your thoughts. I'm gonna move on to Toxic, um, and then we'll go Tommy. Toxic, go ahead. What were your thoughts so far about the John Cena promo?
Oh boy, what a fucking promo. I loved this, but I hated it. For one specific reason, the crowd. The crowd. Don't get me wrong, the crowd is one of the best parts about WWE, but they would just not shut up. And I wanted to hear what Cena had to say. I wanted to hear everything, but it took too long for him to start because they're like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
the first half of the promo, it was good, but when Cody came out, it got better. It got better, and every single feud that Cody has had since becoming champion has been good. AJ Styles, Solo, uh, Logan, all you get it. It's I don't know what about it, but every time Cody is across from the person he's in a feud with, it's it overpowers anything that he's done when he since he came back and had the Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins. I just I don't know, but I enjoyed this entire promo and segment.
No, you bring up some good points. The crowd was good. It was great. But that can also too. I'm gonna sound so weird saying. I feel so weird saying this, but that kind of too much crowd engagement like that can also ruin some of the segments. Like the Seth Rollins promo that we'll probably get into. It was mostly Seth Rollins going out there and just encouraging the fans to sing his song, and I don't remember him saying much of anything during this promo because it was mostly the crowd singing and him just standing in the middle of the ring. So I completely get what you're saying there, Toxic. Tommy, let's hear from you from when it comes to the John Cena promo. How are you feeling about it? What did you think about John Cena's comments?
Well, the first thing that pops into my head right now is congratulations, y'all. We just got dumped on St. Patrick's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Welcome to the pain that heel Cena has now brought. But overall, Cena spoke nothing but facts there. It's fully true. For the past 25 years, in which he basically just spent a minute for each fucking year that he was there just talking before Cody even came out. which I found kind of funny to me. But it's overall true. Cena's entire career has been put onto us and what we wanted with him. And at this point, Cena's like, I'm sick of it. I'm done. Which at this point is justified because it's true. His entire career has been what we wanted it to be, not what he wanted it to be.
Yeah, very true. BT, what about you?
I'm kind of stuck with what to say because this promo from John was so good, but it was so confusing at the same time. Because on one hand, he's right, because the fans are very selective. But on the other hand, when he calls out his loyal supporters, he's wrong because they have been there every step of the fucking way. I mean, look at Narcolepsy Boy on TikTok and Instagram and all of that. He has been a John Cena fan ever since he first started. Like, no matter how much hatred was poured onto John Cena, this is nearly every single loyal supporter of John Cena. No matter how much hatred was thrown in his direction, it was those people that always stuck by him, that always was there during those tough times. And you have the audacity to go out there and shit on their name. When you have that young kid who's sitting in the front row and you hear John Cena point you out and say that you are toxic, do you have any idea how hurt that would be and how traumatic that would feel? Like, that's the one thing that all of these fucking internet trolls don't take into consideration, that it is those people that have stuck by you during those tough times that you take for fucking granted because all you want to focus on is the negative bullshit. But overall, John Cena is fucking, I don't know if he's fully justified, but he's somewhat justified for his actions. That's my take on it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm with you there, BT. I was kind of confused about this whole thing too. I was actually kind of glad that Cody Rhodes came out to defend the fans, defend the audience, and I was happy to see Cody because what a babyface! Here comes Cody Rhodes when John Cena is letting the fans have it, to rescue everyone, and Cody Rhodes got a big pop. And we got to see Cody confront John Cena, which was also good. But final thoughts here, you guys. After hearing, because Mr. Blood brought up a good point, we've heard this before. We've heard these excuses before from other wrestlers, not just Becky Lynch, but I feel like we've also heard it from The Rock. Like in the early 2000s, I came back, you booed me. I did all this and you booed me. And you guys treated me like shit, So we've heard this time and time again. So I guess like my only concern is, did you guys feel like it was worth the wait? We waited this long to hear from John Cena. We finally get to hear from him. And this is what we get. Mr. Blood?
All right, just to finish my thoughts. So the entire, like I said, is that this only works because you have the career of the stature that is John Cena's career. This promo, I feel, with anybody else, it falls flat because it is, and they did something intelligent here. They had him go out and cut a very basic "you turned your back on me" promo with extra steps because he was able to pull from a 25-year library, right? He gave examples. You couldn't have, let's say, Batista come out like he did when he returned and the fans turned on because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. and him go, "You turned your back on me, yada yada yada." It didn't work with him because he was really with them for maybe 10 years time total at that point before he just ditched out. John Cena did double and a half that career. So he's not only completely justified, but he's a sympathetic heel, in my opinion, because this is he became a sympathetic heel by using the most basic heel turn fucking promo ever. The most basic one. That's what makes it genius. Now, I said I loved and hated this. What I hated was Cody. I did not like Cody in this segment. We waited 2 weeks for this, a little over 2 weeks for this, and Cody came out, spoke for 3.5 minutes. 3.5. This is on YouTube. This is a 26-minute, 19-second segment. Cody comes out. His entrance is longer than he talks. And he legitimately, for the last, I think it was 3 minutes and 47 seconds of the YouTube clip, cuts a few sentences worth of promo on John, lets John start to respond, then interrupts him, says, "I'm not the kid, I'm the champ." Big mic drop, and then says, "I know who I am, who are you?" And just leaves John Cena standing there dumbfounded. I was pissed. Almost half-hour segment, and you wait to bring Cody out 5.5, 6 minutes before the segment's over. And we got 20 straight minutes of John Cena trying to get the crowd to let him finish. And I agree with Toxic. Loved the crowd amping up this segment, but damn, did they distract. Because, and it's also on John Cena, for John Cena continuously allowing them to get in on him and keep responding and feeding. But if we wait this long for a segment, I expect a war of words. Okay, I hope I'm not the only one here. Cody came out, but what did he really fucking say? Think about it. What did he really say? "I'm gonna beat you if you don't. If you're not the John Cena you should be." That's basically it. That's what he said. "I'm not a kid. I'm the guy who replaced you." That's fucking it. Half hour to get to that response.
Let me jump in here real quick because he said a little bit more than that, and this is what got my attention, is that he stared at John Cena. He looked at him up and down, and he was like, "I was actually looking forward to facing you at WrestleMania, but this isn't you." He said, "I don't know who are you? Who is this? This is not John Cena. This is just some whiny bitch. So if you bring this guy to WrestleMania, or you better bring this guy to WrestleMania," which...
But in my opinion, that entire promo is Cody working for 3 cheap pops. He cusses, that automatically gets a pop because he called him a bitch. The Rock's done that a million. That's The Rock's go-to, is to call someone a bitch for a pop. Mm-hmm. He then goes, "I ain't the kid, I'm the champ." That gets a pop because he's the babyface. Everybody does that. Then the third one, "Who are you?" Just to cut Cena's leg down. It was a half hour for Cody to come out and drop 3 one-liners, essentially, and leave. We waited 2 weeks and 2 days. I needed way more back and forth on this, and I don't even know John Cena's next scheduled appearance before Mania. We're 4 weeks away from tomorrow.
I think next week he should be on Raw, John Cena. I think they announced
if he's still on the European tour with him, I think the European tour is still next week. So I hope so. I just think we need way more between these two than just this. That's all I'm saying.
BT?
Yeah, I'm fully with Mr. Blood here. The fact that Cody's entrance is longer than his fucking promo is a bit despicable to me. And the fact that he just goes out there to just say, "This isn't the John Cena that I grew up watching," even though this is the John Cena that basically started his career to basically interact with the fans or try to get the fans to appreciate him, which is something that he fucking harped on so many times. I want to make that clear. John Cena harped on that so many times. He did everything to make sure that those fans fucking connected to him and he could connect with them, and it was never enough. It was never enough. Like, I've even heard some people say that they don't even appreciate his 2015 US title run. Like, I've even heard people say that. Like, it is never enough with these fans. It's never enough. And that is the thing with these people. They are selective, outraged bunch of motherfuckers. They will never appreciate anything. It is why Jey Uso is getting the hatred that he is getting. Because they don't like whatever it is. He may not wrestle that good. He may not be fucking entertaining to the people that are watching on social media, like internet wrestling wise, but fucking the crowd has a different reaction to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's
They're fickle,
different.
BT. That's what you're trying to say. They're fickle.
Yeah, they're
Fans
fickle
are
as fuck.
fickle.
Yeah. They don't know how to book their way out of a paper bag. They wish that they could just run the show because they think that they can book a better show than Triple H. And the truth is, they can't. And that's the one thing that people always tell them, and they don't want to listen to them. So if you're going to trash on them so many times, you may as well not fucking watch them. But because you want the clicks, because you want the money and the profit that comes out of it, you can't change their mind. You can't.
Well, for what
But
it's worth,
because you get all of these things that you take for granted.
Mm-hmm. Well, for what it's worth, I think that they gave us some of it, but there's still a lot more to come, obviously. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to what happens next. We didn't get a new look, we didn't get a new song because John Cena is not going to give us what we want anymore. And I thought that was interesting. But I wasn't expecting was John Cena to come out and say what he said. I guess I was expecting more. That kind of throws my my prediction out of the window that he did not do this on his own. I thought this was like it was gonna be like The Rock forcing him, not forcing his hand a little bit, but this seems like this is totally John Cena's decision to go against the fans the way that he did. But closing thoughts with Tommy, and then we're gonna move on because we're gonna talk about, since you guys want to talk about Cody Rhodes' entrance being longer than his segment. Jey Uso's match was a lot shorter than his entrance, which we'll get into next. But final thoughts on John Cena, Tommy?
My biggest thing here, and this is what I'm going to do here. Blood, I'm sorry, but one of my favorite lines of this segment came from Cody, and it was the line that Edgar himself just said.
Which one?
The whole, this is not you. This is not the Cena I want to face at Mania. I want the actual Cena, not this bitch. Like,
but we've seen that before and heard it before a million times.
Like, I get that, but coming from Cody with the emotion that he put into it, not
just the emotion.
I mean, it sounded better when Shawn Michaels said to the Undertaker, when Triple H said to the Undertaker.
We've definitely.
I didn't get anything out of that.
We've definitely seen.
And is it just me? Is it just me, or did we not hear Cody Rhodes call The Rock the same thing last year?
We've seen this happen before.
Because The Rock is sort of the same thing.
We've seen this happen before, but I thought it was good because even though John Cena came out, he looked the same, he dressed the same. It was still the same John Cena, but Cody Rhodes was making it clear that
people were expecting him to say "fuck them kids," but he just didn't. It's like, I even caught a glimpse of a live stream earlier today, and a girl on there flat out said, if Cena does not say "fuck them kids," they're missing out. Like, so that's how people expected it.
This is why that line that Cody Rhodes said at the end meant more than what I think you guys believe, because some people were still cheering for John Cena. I mean, there were some people in the crowd. I think Cody Rhodes, what he meant to do by saying that is put more heat on John Cena. Like, who? Like, this isn't you, man. Like, come on, you know? So I think that's why that line, even though we've heard it millions of times, I felt like it was really important.
I just genuinely bought Cena in this. I didn't buy Cody in this one, and I love Cody. I love him. I'm not a Cody hater. I'm a Cody crybaby. I just I couldn't buy him in this, and I watched it twice to see if I would the second time. That's all I'm saying. I need to see more, because if this had been a longer segment where Cody had gotten 15 minutes with John to trade words and barbs, I would have built up to buying it. I can't buy it in 3 minutes. You haven't sold me anything yet.
The other thing, too, and this is the last thing I'm going to say because we need to move on. This is the same guy that low blowed you. Hold on, Tommy. Hold on.
You're right.
Slow your roll. This is the same guy that low blowed you at Elimination Chamber, embarrassed you, made you bleed, betrayed you after all these years, and you're not going to go after him. You're not going to attack him. You're not going to nothing. That was the only thing that was kind of weird, but I still really enjoyed this whole promo. It's also a good thing to make us wait for it. It's also a good thing to make us wait for the physicality. Do we really want to see Cody and John Cena have like these pull aparts like everyone else on the show is? No, not really. I mean, come on.
This is one of the few feuds that actually deserves it. Dude, you kicked me in the balls when you went in for a hug. You held my legs down while a rapper burst my eardrum and gave me a black eye, and The Rock whipped me with a belt with my own dad's death date on it. Yes, this is going to be a pull-apart brawl. More than the others, this one needs it because it earned it. I would have beat his ass, not talked to him for 3 minutes.
With that, though, the problem with that, odds are they're going to do a contract signing eventually. And that is the stereotypical thing with contract signings. It's the biggest issue I have with that entire concept. It's the fact that every time there's a contract signing, like there was tonight, which we probably are going to get to later on, it always ends with a table being broke and a massive brawl. Every damn time.
Well, moving from one WrestleMania event to the other WrestleMania event, Jey Uso had a match versus my boy Austin Theory. Poor Austin Theory. My boy Austin Theory. You know what? I appreciate Austin Theory because he's such a team player. But if I was Austin Theory and someone told me, hey, you got to go out there and you're going to get squashed by Jey Uso in under fucking 30 seconds, I probably would have flipped a few bricks, to be honest. Because, I mean, I know, I get it. It's Jey Uso. He's got to look good for WrestleMania. But it's Austin fucking Theory. Austin Theory looks like $1 million fucking dollars. But anyway, that's not the point. The point here is Jey Uso is looking really good, beating fools like legitimate dudes like Austin Theory, compared to Gunther, who's struggling with Akira Tozawa and Otis and Axiom. So that's the story going into WrestleMania here. Things are looking way better for Jey Uso right about now, but not before Gunther came out and attacked Jey Uso from behind. Now, some people are saying, I think Toxic said that Jey Uso got out of the sleeper hold. I missed that part. But it looks like Gunther, no matter how his matches have been going, Gunther has been getting the last laugh on Jey Uso for the past several weeks. Besides the top dollar type suicide dive that Jey Uso did, that Corey Graves even said, this is why you don't do high risk before WrestleMania, because Jey Uso almost fucked himself up. BT, let's start with you first. What were your thoughts on this squash match with Jey Uso versus Austin Theory?
I think this is the start of the crash out Jay that we are wanting to see, and I fucking love it. Jay coming out there doing his yeet stuff. He wasn't coming through the crowd. He usually comes out through the crowd. He was going in there for business, and he did his thing. People say that he's not that good at the wrestling techniques. He throws the weakest punches. He isn't that fucking technical in the ring. I understand that. I understand. But when he was running those ropes, he isn't a Braun breaker or anything, but he was looking good. He looked real good. Mm-hmm. And then the spear, simple as that, 1, 2, 3. And that's a hell of a statement. And that statement is fuck them haters. He is proving that he has what it takes to take down Gunther. And Gunther, yet again, proves Toxic's point that I added to my TikTok story that he said last week. Fucking Gunther can only attack Jay from behind and choke him out when he's not being seen. Because that's where he's brave. But he can't fucking confront him one-on-one. You're telling me that you could confront Cody Rhodes one-on-one, but you can't confront Jay? That's very confusing to me, and that's very worrying for somebody like Gunther, who has spent 75% of his career as champion and feels like his reputation is going to be destroyed. Basically, if he loses to Jay, his reputation will be laughed at, basically. But he's still going to be recognized as one of the greatest champions of all time, like, no matter how anybody wants to put it. But to lose to Jay at WrestleMania, and I know people always say, like, Gunther losing back-to-back WrestleManias makes Gunther the worst superstar. Here's the difference between WrestleMania 40 and WrestleMania 41. Jay deserves that shot. Sami Zayn took the shot from Chad Gable. Chad Gable fully deserved that last year for the Intercontinental Championship. Nobody can change my mind on that. That is a very big difference. Sami Zayn was being told an underdog story that should have been a world championship worthy story. But because they had Drew McIntyre going up against Seth Rollins, they had to pivot. And with the story, they had too many stories being told, so they had to pivot and fucking interject Sami Zayn's story with Chad Gable and Gunther. Whereas Chad Gable has been trying to prove that he can beat Gunther, but yet Sami Zayn takes the spotlight. And then not only that, beats Gunther just for a shock value. Like, that was the one thing that pissed me off about that. So, but back to Jay. He fully deserves that title shot. I don't care what anybody tells me. The squash match was a message. Fuck the haters. We are crashing out on this WrestleMania build. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Gunther beat Jay too. All right, Tommy, let's hear from you.
As much as I completely agree wholeheartedly with BT, there's one thing that's driving me insane. Why the hell is Jay, and this is including next week, doing 3 weeks in a row with fucking A-Town Down Under?
Is he?
3 weeks in a row? Last week with Waller, this week with Theory, and then a tag match next week?
Oh, but I mean, it's different. It's variety there. You have different matches there.
I get that, but even Gunther is going up against different people each week, not the exact same tag team 3 weeks in a row.
Well, I can tell you why that is, Tommy. It's not only because A-Town Down, they're a heel tag team, but they're both good singles wrestlers that are great workers in the ring that can make Jey Uso look really good individually and in a tag team match. So I think that's the big reason why they're using Waller and Theory to basically job out to Jey Uso.
Then why all 3 weeks in a row? He could move on to somebody else next week instead of a random tag match to put him right back in the tag situation again.
Making Jay look good.
He already looks good.
Not good enough.
Yeet.
Toxic, let's hear from you. Let's hear from you, Toxic, and then Mr. Blood.
Okay, I have to make a point real quick. We all agree that Jay's best entrance has to be Backlash 2024, right? 2024, right? I think tonight topped it. Tonight topped it. In my opinion, it topped it, but it was exactly the same, but just a little bit better. I don't know why, but it's better for me. Now back to the point. Of course, Jay's gonna get a squash match against Theory. Not good. Not no hate against Theory. Theory carries A-Town Down Under. Grayson Waller fucking sucks. Yeah, but it's not a surprise. I mean, you're just gonna beat him down next week and think that he's not gonna come unglued on your ass. And like you said to Gunther in backstage, I don't know when, but you said you said that you're gonna give me 10 weeks of hell. Well, you just awoke a damn beast. Jay's crashing out. He's crashing out. So Jay has evolved than what he was last time they faced. Last time they faced, he was. That's when. I don't know. Fuck.
Well, Toxic, you say, of course, he was going to get a squash match, but I say this was unexpected. I can't remember the last time. I can't remember the last time I seen a squash match, so I thought it was well done. It made Jay look good, which is the point. He's the main event of WrestleMania, one of the nights. And his whole entrance was a lot longer than his actual match. I bring that up because we mentioned that earlier today too. But go ahead, finish your thoughts, Toxic, and then we'll move on to Mr. Blood.
Okay, and I want to answer something that Tommy said. The reason why they're having him go back-to-back matches with A-Town Down Under, why the same tag team, I don't know, but back-to-back matches is because the World Heavyweight Championship, it's a workhorse title, right? It's a workhorse title, right? They're going to obviously, if Jay's going to win it, they're obviously going to make him go back-to-back matches. Why against the same tag team? I don't know. But, yeah.
All right, Blood, let's go to you.
All right, so I'll answer several questions at the same time here. Reason is he didn't come in through the crowd, probably because they know that the city of Brussels was so rowdy. They probably just didn't want to risk them getting too rowdy with Jay while he was making his way down the stairs. No one wants to get attacked by a happy crowd and then trip and bump and fall their way down a whole staircase. Two, the reason that they keep having him face the same team over and over again is because it's a mini feud, a filler feud on his way to Mania that can also keep incorporating Gunther. It's about the numbers game here. A-Town Down is the thorn in his paw, and then here comes Gunther, the snake behind his back. It's just telling a classic story, trying to show everybody Jay can overcome all odds, even if all those odds are at the same time. Thirdly, when it comes to Austin Theory, and even though I went last, I was so hoping no one would make this point because I thought this is a massive point. I'm going to blow your fucking minds right now, guys. We've been talking about how Gunther has been, he can barely get past Axe.
Oh no! So much for blowing our fucking minds.
I love it. Could barely get past Act 6. Done.
Right.
Bruh,
I'm gonna have to edit this
remember,
out.
remember when I tried to do the same thing, like try to point something out, and then it just cuts out on me.
Great. Now I'm gonna have to work and edit this shit.
Cry about it.
I'm gonna just make you edit it. How about that? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, he's back. Welcome
Um,
back, Chili Mac. Go ahead.
but anyway, so uh, the fact is that when I'm going to blow your mind here. When you look at the fact that Gunther, they've been telling the story that Gunther can barely get past Axiom and Otis and Akira Tozawa, but he keeps sneak tacking Jay. And then you guys want to look over at, well, why'd they book Theory in a squash match? Well, of course they booked Theory in a squash. You're missing the point here. Here's a huge point for you that no one brought up. Theory has a former WrestleMania win over the guy who might be the longest, biggest reign, or the most reigns in history, world champion of all time, John Cena. He has literally beaten the greatest of all time at Wrestle Motherfucking Mania. So if you just showed me that Jey Uso just squashed the guy who beat Cena decisively, I might add, at WrestleMania, the same guy who's in a main event against Cody Rhodes for the number 17 record-breaking world championship in WWE, and Jay just beat Austin in less than a minute and 20 seconds. But Cena couldn't beat Austin Theory, but he's supposed to beat Cody. That right there tells you everything you need to know. And I'll be surprised if Jey Uso doesn't bring that up to Gunther at some point. Gunther going, you're not on my level. You can't beat me, this, that, and the third. Yeah, well, I beat Austin Theory. What's that supposed to mean? Well, Austin Theory beat John Cena. Clean, by the way. He beat him clean at Mania. He didn't cheat to win. Austin Theory pinned John Cena clean. Gunther can't get a one-up on Jay unless there's someone distracting him, some bullshit with the ref. Because remember, the last time they faced, Jay should have won. Remember that bullshit from the ref? Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, Austin Theory, if anything, being fodder to Jay only helps Jay because Austin Theory has something over Jay and Gunther. He's beaten John Cena at Wrestle fucking Mania. Neither of them can say that. So if Jay doesn't bring up the fact that he's beaten John, or sorry, if Jay doesn't bring up the fact that Austin beat John and he beat Austin in less than a minute and a half, no sweat. So if I can do that to him, what makes you think I can't do that to you, huh? I put him down in a minute and a half. I'll knock your ass down in half the time. 4 letters, 1 word. Yee. If I don't hear that shit, I'll be surprised because I would drop that shit in a promo like that if I knew I had that over him. That tells me Jay's going over at Mania. The only thing here that I got to say, I don't care about the build anymore. I've lost full interest in the Jey Uso versus Gunther build. I'm bored by it. I'm incredibly bored by it. They are building foundation here, but I'm bored. At this point, I think it's going to be the championship match at Mania that has a shit story going into it other than the rise of Jey. But the rise of Jey Uso isn't a story. It's just what's happening. Jay's been rising for years at this point, like fucking dough. Okay? At this point, I just need to see the match. I don't care about the build anymore. I'll be 100% honest with you. The build has been horrible for me. Myself personally, my own perspective, I think the build's been shit terrible. Absolutely terrible, lackluster, horribly written, in my opinion. I think it's one of the few Triple H booking L's that he has made for his major title pictures because he has been really good about booking the men's title pictures across the board in the last 2 years. I think having Jay win at Rumble, absolutely intelligent decision. Having Gunther win it from Priest the way he did, intelligent decision. But Gunther's reign has been boring as fuck. Okay. Jey Uso's since Royal Rumble, his run, not him, the run they've had him on has been boring as fuck. I don't care anymore. The build is horrible. Let's admit it. Can we be honest? It's probably, in my opinion, next to Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, who actually have real story going in from a year ago's Mania. This might be the worst built match on the card going into Mania.
You just gave me an idea, Mr. Blood. I think for shits and giggles, we should try to come up with ways to make this feud interesting between Jey Uso and Gunther. What does it need? What is it gonna take to make this build interesting? Don't answer it. It's not a question for tonight. We will at some point get together. I want you guys to really think about this one, and then we'll come back and then we'll do a special episode on that later.
And y'all remember, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Snug Wrestling, at Snug Wrestling on TikTok. Don't forget it.
That's right.
Stay tuned for it. Plug that
Tommy,
shit.
final thoughts.
One, I completely forgot about WrestleMania 39. When that happened, I completely forgot about that. Because I think that was the one, I think the reason why I forgot about it is because of the fact that it was blatantly obvious that night one was booked by Vince. It was blatantly obvious, which is why I completely forgot that Theory beat Cena night one.
Yeah, and then after that, his push went down the drain, and they just again, yeah.
Remember, you take out Jay. Who is Gunther defended against? If you took out Jay altogether,
who has he
there's
defended
no one
against?
I can think of. Priest
and Randy.
I think didn't he defend against Sammy? Yeah, I think he's had like 3 or 4 defenses since he won it.
Yeah, that should tell you how fucking bad it is. The
All right.
fact this is supposed to be the workhorse of the two. And in Gunther's hands, it's not.
Yeah, it started off that way with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was defending it left and right, but Gunther really made the title special and relevant, in my opinion. But that's just me. Let's move on to the main event, because the main event also ties into the match with Penta and Ludwig Kaiser, the no-holds-barred match that Penta won. He beat Kaiser in a very definitive way, and it's because Penta looks like is next up to face Braun Breaker after Braun Breaker successfully defended the Intercontinental Championship versus Finn Balor on this main event of Monday Night Raw. After the Judgment Day, Carlito and Dominic Mysterio, that dirty Dom, he's been having some bad luck as of late when it comes to trying to help out his buddy Finn Balor. Basically, thanks to Dom, Braun Breaker ended up retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Then Penta came out after there was a little squabble after the match, and Penta and Braun Breaker had a nice little stare down. The question I have about this match to you guys, is it just me, or did Braun Breaker's spear tonight in the last couple of weeks have been looking a little more weaker? The reason I'm bringing this up, it could be of one or two reasons, and I want to hear what you guys think about this. Number one, after Speed got taken out by that vicious spear, do you guys think the WWE was like, hey, you need to turn it down there a little bit, Braun Breaker, because you're going to literally break people in half if you go full speed? Or reason number two, Jey Uso is also using the spear. We can't have your spear looking better than the next World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, are those crazy things to think about here? Who wants to go first? Who wants to share their thoughts about this whole thing? Toxic, we'll go with you first, and then Mr. Blood.
The reason I think is because Jay's Jay and Braun's spear looked the same, even though tonight's their spear looked the same. But the match with Finn Balor and Braun Breaker, amazing match. It was one of those matches that you think we're gonna have a title change, but we don't. And I think that we're gonna get a Penta and Braun feud that goes all the way to Mania.
Blood.
The problem I have here is that I think it's actually one of three reasons. Reason number one, the chaos or the speed incident, yeah, because the kid actually got concussed. Two, it's him and Jay are both using it, and this is supposed to be Jay's year. And if let's say Braun goes over at Mania, and so does Jay, then you have two matches that ended with the same fucking move. Um, but I think there's a third one. Too many people are using the goddamn spear. If you have a move that so many people do, that move isn't as special anymore now, is it? Is Sweet Chin Music still special when half the fucking wrestling world uses the super kick? I mean, let's not forget, you think of all the people you can think of in the last 14 years that use the fucking spear in WWE, because there's a lot. There's a lot. There's people you forgot used it. Big Show started using it as a signature. You remember the wrestler Caitlyn? She used the fucking spear. Goldberg, goddamn fucking Roman Reigns, okay? Jey Uso, now Jimmy Uso uses it as well, okay? Braun Breaker. So many big names use that fucking spear. Charlotte Flair's been using a spear for 14 years, okay? So my thing is that it's one of those three reasons, or it's a mixture of all three. Or it could be the fourth one. There's a fourth reason. They don't want Braun to injure himself leading into Mania, and they just want him to play it safe and not go as hard. I think that's also possible. Because Jay's also been wrestling a little softer too, I've noticed. Because that spear he hit tonight and Michael, I want to say this. Michael Cole annoys the shit out of me. Sometimes I love Michael Cole, but this man over the last 6 months, I don't know if he's starting to get dementia. It's starting to get a lot of moves he's called correctly a million times wrong. He ruined the end of Jay's squash match over Austin because he called the spear a fucking crossbody. Okay? He called it a fucking crossbody. Instead of the hype that match would have ended for on the people watching at home, if we had heard, and a spear by Jey Uso. He went, and he gets him with a crossbody. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and he put him away. He showed up tonight. I was like, you barely sold that finish because you got the shit. What the fuck? You just ruined the end of the match because you called it wrong. But when it comes to this Intercontinental Championship stuff, I thought the match beautifully well done, man. Great fun. I mean, Finn Balor continues to make every man in their mid-40s hope to God they look and move half as well as he does at his age when they get there. I mean, if I could even have half the non-existent body fat that he has when I'm 40 fucking 5 years old, I'll be happy. These guys are great. Finn wrestles like a guy in his 20s. Braun Breaker is the guy in his 20s. This was a fun match. Explosive, great offense. They've got great chemistry. Great chemistry. What I'm worried about is that all of our original theory of Sheamus winning it at Mania, I feel like that's dashed. I don't know what's been going on lately, where Sheamus is on TV for a handful of weeks. They take him off for a month and a half. He comes back for a couple of weeks. He's off for a month and a half. Have you noticed that about this current run? He's here for a cup of coffee, leaves for a longer cup of coffee, comes back. This could have been Sheamus's year. And now I feel like I don't know who's versing Braun Breaker at Mania. I think at this point now you might as well just throw Finn in there because you just have Finn in the Judgment Day story tied in, right? Bitching about needing to bring gold proceeds back to the Judgment Day. You got Dom is trying to go for the tag titles, right? You got fucking the women's tag team championships have been recruited by by Raquel and Liv. And now, you got your weight. JD's out on injury. You got to fill the gold up to keep the story fresh with the faction. So at this point, I'm like, just, bro, stop having all these guys. You got two options here. Either at this point, the biggest match you can have at Mania, in my opinion, if it's not Sheamus, it's you got to pick. It's either Penta or it's either Finn versus Braun. Or the second goddamn option you have is a four-way. Okay? Ludwig, Braun, Penta, and Finn. Because I feel like this is the Mania where we are getting so many multi-man matches, you might as well throw in another one at this point.
All right. Let's go with you, Tommy, and then BT.
So the match was great. I love the match. It's these two that have they're fantastic in the ring, going head to head. A veteran that has held this title before compared to the current one. But with the spear situation, yes. All three counts. Yes. Like Blood said, he got concussed. Speed literally got concussed from that. Man got a concussion. His ankle got messed up just from that one spear. He had to tone it back a little bit. Because if he didn't, he was going to red rum somebody. He was going to red rum somebody with it. But with Finn, I feel bad for Dom, man. I feel bad for Dom. Man's going to get his ass chewed out next week. He's going to get chewed out so bad it's not even funny. Yes, I know, Snug, before you even say it. Pause. Yes.
Resume.
But yeah, like Dom might as well just quit the Judgment Day at this point. Because he is going to get screamed at so bad that Dom might want to run away. That is how bad Balor is going to dig into this man for, yes, accidentally costing him the title, but costing it nonetheless.
All right, BT. BT, can you hear us?
I think he's frozen.
BT.
Okay.
BT, go out and come back in, buddy.
Oh, there he
Let's give
goes.
him a second. Let's just give him a second.
Hey, Snug, looks like more editing for you.
Yeah, I know, for real.
There he is. All right, there we go.
All right, BT,
All
can
right,
you hear
good.
us?
Yes, I can hear you. My microphone just keeps on fucking up if I have it on mute for too long. I don't know what it is, but anyway. I didn't watch the main event because I don't give a fuck, which is very sad to say. I'm very selective. The only thing I give a fuck about is Cody and John and Gunther and Jay when it comes to Monday Night Raw, because the other stories have just been lackluster in my opinion. Because when it comes to the four-way that Blood mentioned, there's a possible chance that they could add Ludwig Kaiser to the situation as well, and it could be a fatal five-way, but it is just starting to get a bit repetitive, in my opinion. Even though they put on banger matches, it's just very repetitive, and I'm kind of getting a bit sick of it. But yeah, I don't give a fuck what they do. I'm just very... The main things I'm interested in, like I said, Gunther, Jay, and John and Cody. Like, those are the only ones that have got me interested.
All right, the last thing that I want to talk about here is the women's division, because we had a contract sign in, and also we had a match between Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile. Now, the only reason I bring up the match with Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile, Dakota Kai has been coming out with Io Sky. She's been, her backup. She's been her friend, her partner for the longest time. But in pro wrestling, especially when you have a championship involved, shout out to Dylan Holyfield, says Mr. Blood, the homie. When it comes to pro wrestling, the biggest storylines, that, sorry, Mr. Blood, your hand gestures were distracting me, but the friend always turns, So, I don't know. This could probably lead to Dakota Kai turning on Io Sky, which is another reason why I would like to see Io Sky retain at WrestleMania. They had the contract signing with Io Sky and Bianca Belair, but these contract signings always go sideways because Rhea Ripley came out, attacked Bianca Belair and Io Sky. Then Rhea Ripley took it upon herself to sign the contract, which then Rhea Ripley claims this is a legal document. Rhea Ripley claims that because she signed it, she's officially part of this match. Is this really how it's all going to go down? Like, it's looking like we're going to have a series of multi-person matches at WrestleMania. And I don't know how I feel about this. So, Tommy, what happened to Tommy? I was going to go with him first, but let's go with Mr. Blood, and then we'll move on from there.
I'll make this pretty quick, the whole thing, because I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I think my thoughts are pretty concise. Really quick, shout back out to Dylan Holyfield. Thanks, buddy. We go back 25 years to kindergarten. We've been friends. That man used to cut my hair in his garage. Thanks, buddy. I love you. But when it comes to Rhea Ripley, first off, I don't know how Rhea got her own contract if she thinks that what she did is legally binding. All contracts require, first off, you can sign on it, but there was only two spaces to sign: the defender of the title and the opposition vying for the title. Her name isn't mentioned in the contract as a competitor. It's for a one-on-one championship match. You can't just throw your name in there and go, oh, well, I'm going to fuse with Bianca and we'll both take on Rhea in some weird Dragon Ball Z fusion dance. That's not how it works. I think that Rhea is going to keep exploding on these two until it forces Adam Pearce's hand to make it a triple threat. Again, I think that Io was very, very close to becoming an afterthought in this segment because it was a very peaceful contract signing, right? Again, getting real sick and tired of Bianca Belair recently. Her arrogance has been annoying the crap out of me because it feels so out of character for her. And I feel like she's slowly turning heel for some reason. And I'm excited to see the heel turn, but right now, this pompous fucking arrogance that she's dishing out all the time, that is not the girl that is, that role model to all these little girls in the commercials and to be a star. So, the stuff that she's shown us who she is. She's like the more big Build-A-Bear Barbie that Bailey was when Bailey had the Bailey Buddies. Only it's the strong black woman here for the little girls community, not the hugger Bailey. That's who Bianca is. Just as talented in the ring as Bailey, just as over with the kids and the little girls. So to see her pie face Io again, dude, yeah.
Damn.
More editing and technical issues.
Snug, I hope you have fun editing this one.
I hope you like editing because there's going to be a crap ton today.
No, I don't. It's the worst.
2, 3. You had a peaceful contract signing, so Rhea comes out. She rightfully, in my opinion, gets in Bianca's face. Oh, so you can distract me, get in the way in my match, and then come out here all smiles like you fucking earned this one-on-one with fucking Io. Nah, bitch, it should have been me. I may have taken my eye off the ball, But you shouldn't have been there for my eye to get distracted in the first place. Let's be real. I don't. First off, who are you to come out in my championship match and cheer on my opponent and expect me not to have a grievance with that? Because in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you're out here to clown me. You're rooting for her to kick my ass? We're in a competitive sport, bitch. The fuck? So I understand Rhea's anger. And Rhea just straight up didn't put her hands on Bianca this time. This is where I'm saying Bianca's the arrogant asshole in the wrong. She fucking yells back. Io doesn't want to be an afterthought because she's getting close to being an afterthought in these segments. Comes in to remind them who the fuck she is. And Bianca, in my opinion, are you a babyface girl? Why would you full palm this girl who is so much smaller and shove her so far back? She fucking hit the ground. I ain't got time to get smacked today. Like, she didn't touch you. She was looking in between you. So in my opinion, Bianca's the heel in this trio. Okay? And Bianca took her eye off the ball this time, and she ate a fucking headbutt. Laid up straight on that table, got Io Sky powerbomb straight on top of her, and the table didn't break. So I know that bump that Bianca took from Io, and no pun intended, was snug. Because that shit didn't budge, bro. And Io's like 126 pounds. So I'd be like, oh, that'd be me. I'd be like, get off me, please. Great segment. I think it's going to come down to Rhea straight up continuously interjecting herself wherever she can, beating them up back ring, getting it out of his face, wash, rinse, repeat until maybe the second week before Mania. Probably the second week. He finally just folds and goes, you wanted a match? Fine. It's official. And then we'll get them in a go-home segment the next week before Mania where they go in a brawl or something. It's going to be a multi... This is the WrestleMania 41, folks. The multi-man mania. That is what this fucking... It is.
No,
It really
I know.
is.
I mean, I'm afraid you're right, unfortunately. All right, let's go Tommy and then BT.
I completely agree with Blood. The big thing, though, is the fact that this women's division in general is just one giant fucking mess. It's like the tag team division on SmackDown. It's just a massive mess. And the biggest issue here is it's very clear, even from the start during her first reign, Rhea is the top girl. It's so clear at this point that Rhea is the top girl and everybody else is a little bit lower than her. Rhea is absolutely the biggest girl. And for what she did, I'm with it. I would have done the same fucking thing. I wouldn't have put my name on the paper, but I absolutely would have gone out there and said, fuck you. You I'll deal with later because you're kind of mini. But Bianca, fuck you. Right? It's very clear that Rhea is the top girl. It's just that simple. She's on top. Everybody else is a little bit lower.
BT?
And I absolutely would have walked in, grabbed that contract, and walked away with it as well.
All right. Three things I took away from this. One, Tommy, Rhea is the biggest girl, but she ain't as big as Nia Jax's hole. Okay, let's get that straight. Number two, Rhea Ripley is not Shawn Michaels thinking that she can just fucking draw her name on a contract and everything will be fucking dandy. She's not. Shawn Michaels will get away with that shit in 6.5 seconds. Okay. Number three. if I see these ladies disrespect Io Sky one more fucking time, especially Bianca, they are getting so fucking distracted that they're just excluding Io out of the conversation like she's nothing. Like, we get it. Her first title reign wasn't special. Okay? We get it. We know that. But fuck me, she's a hell of a fucking talent if you would fucking book her properly. But come on. Come on. Like, the disrespect is just getting ridiculous. So, those are my thoughts on the whole thing.
All right, Toxic.
I completely fucking agree with Mr. Blood. Bianca's pissing me off. I don't even know why. Like, she shouldn't have won Chamber. The whole situation with Rhea costing Io her spot in the Chamber because Liv Morgan's a fucking dumbass. It's just, I don't get why do that in the first place. You could easily have Rhea versus Io at Mania. That would I would be all for that. Bianca, she just inserted herself into this. I genuinely don't get why Bianca is even anywhere close to this um, mini feud, whatever you want to call it, with Rhea and Io. I don't get it. There was a story going on between them. Chamber happens, Bianca wins. She inserts herself in. It does not make sense to me.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, really quickly before we get out of here.
Like I said, because I'll take us home. Like I said before, the problem we have here with this story, with the interjection of Bianca, when she already has the whole other story going on in SmackDown, was the booking of the Chamber was the problem. Bianca never should have won it. Io should have been the one to take the title off of Liv, or Rhea should have taken the title off of Liv, and Io should have been in the Chamber. Io should have won the Chamber to then challenge Rhea so Rhea could tell the story of I've never beaten you and I want to beat you. Boom, bang, done. A match we haven't seen Rhea conquer. Okay. And Bianca stays on SmackDown in her own dramatic lovers' quarrel. And the women's division on Monday Night Raw looks a whole hell of a lot less messy. It's that simple. I booked that in my head in 20 seconds. Rearrange the chamber participants, and you're fucking done. It was that easy. We didn't need Jade to attack Naomi in the chamber. If Naomi was going to get taken out immediately, that spot should have gone to Io. And Jade could have returned on a SmackDown and beat the crap out of Naomi. And we're still off to the races. It's that simple. It should have been that easy. They booked themselves into a corner, tried to book themselves out, booked themselves into the opposite corner, and now here we are. It's too messy. And it didn't have to be. It was so simple. And those are my thoughts on that. But that's how clean it could have and should have been. And now we've got, yet again, to amp up yours and my fear. Now, I'm excited for the unpredictability that multi-man matches bring. I really am, because it's also no DQ basically for every fucking match at this point, because there's no DQ in multi-man matches. But we run the risk at Mania of, oh, well, here comes the next Fatal 4-Way, another triple threat. You know, like, oh, plus all the tag team matches, the showcase matches. How many one-on-ones are there actually going to be this year at Mania? Gunther versus Jay and fucking John versus Cody. Can you find me another one that matters aside from Drew versus Damian?
Tiffy versus Charlotte.
Okay, we got 4 out of 2 nights.
Jade versus Naomi.
If they put that on Mania, that motherfucker better be in the pre-show.
If they do, it's going to be record breaking because it'll be the first women's non-title match in a WrestleMania in like over 20 years.
That's true. That's true. But at the
But
same time,
we'll see what happens.
that would take up a space in the card that should have been Bianca versus Jade, not Naomi versus Jade.
Well, with that, you guys, we also had Seth Rollins cut a promo, and we had a weird backstage segment with AJ Styles and Karrion Kross. But other than that, that was Monday Night Raw, you guys. Thank you guys once again for hanging out, watching, and listening. Thank you, Blood. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, BT and Toxic. You guys are awesome. Until next time, my name is Edgar. I'm the host of the Snug Wrestling Podcast, and we will talk soon.